You want to be optimally prepared for FPS missions? No unnecessary risks and take loot as best as possible? Then you're right here. Because in this guide, we take a detailed look at the current FPS mechanics. Because a lot has changed since the changes of the loot system, and looting has become a bit more difficult, so to speak. Therefore, we show you the different possibilities, how you can collect loot as efficiently as possible, and what the requirements are, and of course some tips for missions in the legal and illegal area. With this, you are optimally prepared for the FPS missions that are currently available in the verse. We start with the basic requirements and especially the possibilities to currently collect loot. We currently recommend you, if you want to take loot in a larger style, at least a tractor beam attachment or a multi-tool or the max lift tractor beam. And in order to be able to pack loot at all, you need SCU containers. Here, at least one SCU container would be enough, or as we recommend, a 2 SCU container. These fit into most ships and especially through most doors. So the basic equipment we need, a tractor beam and container, can be found at any space station on the corresponding cargo decks for purchase. And for all those who have more, we recommend taking an 8 SCU container with you if you use a suitable ship for it. There are basically two different philosophies here. On the one hand, a ship that is large enough to take an Ursa Medevac with you, so the possibility of respawning, or you use a ship with a built-in respawn function such as the Pisces C8R or a Cutlass Red. Larger ships, on the other hand, such as the 890 Jump or the Carrack, also have a respawn function, but are rather unsuitable for soloing. But in any case, you should bring a mobile spawn option or a medical equipment with you, so a Ursa Rover or a ship. Because if something goes wrong, your collected items and your mission progress are not completely gone, but you can simply spawn again on site. And especially if you want to be on the road in the field of illegal missions, we recommend that you also load a hover bike, so small poles with you. But we will take a look at what we need these for later. So, on our checklist there is sufficient armor, at least a handgun, tractor beam attachment with multi-tool or the max lift, at least one SCU box and a respawn option, if possible in the ship or with an Ursa Red. So the Medevac variant. This gives us the optimal basic requirements for all FPS missions in the current game state. You can find them mostly in the Mercenary tab in your mission manager or as an headhunter mission. And these missions are mostly similar here. For example, we fight some attackers and support the local security service, or switch out individual high-ranking targets within a bunker system, or grab the security authorities by the arms. Either way, we get into the fight and of course there are also corresponding enemies in front of us that can we loot. Only to be able to take this loot with us, we need a container. And here, 1 or 2 SCU containers are recommended as they still fit through the doors, especially in small bunkers. Because you won't get a bigger container here. But the loot system still has its shortcomings, or rather offers a lot of immersion, since we first put every item in a box physically correctly, but then have to put them in a larger box individually every time to take them with us. And with a container brought with you, you save a lot of work and of course a lot of time. But beware. Depending on the mission, it may be that opponents continue to respawn and reinforcements keep coming in. So when looting, you shouldn't rely too much on being safe. So either take a friend with you or stay alert. And of course, it would be easiest to pull the items directly into your container, which however the mechanics no longer allow. So we first have to completely undress our opponents from the outside to the inside. So you can't take out an undersuit directly, you have to remove the armor until you get to the undersuit. And you have to collect weapons individually, bring them to your container and then load them step by step individually. And at this point, we would like a rather alternative solution. Because the physicalization of each individual object is very immersive and of course makes a lot of sense, But from a playful aspect, it is very tedious, especially to load larger enemy groups or some equipment and take it with you. Because here we are busy with boring drag and drop for a while, without any playful use. And if you are traveling without a corresponding container and find your dream armor, then you can only decide to put it on directly on site and leave your current armor there. Alternatively, it is possible to bring the corresponding opponent completely with you. And don't worry, because of the changes in the crime system, you no longer have to danger of being shot by a station as long as one of the bad guys is in your container or in your ship. Here we have almost completely filled our 2 SCU box and take one or the other additional opponent with us. Because then we take a look at how we can finally get the objects in our inventory at a space station or on one of the resident planets. Because that's not easy either. Because, of course, it is not done with the small and tedious loading of individual objects into different containers. These must be also unloaded in small parts and individually in order to then be transported to our inventory. Therefore, we land first in our hangar, as close as possible to our cargo elevator, and have different ways to achieve this. The easiest and fastest option is to transfer your whole container, that is, with the filled objects, once to your warehouse, but the objects then remain directly in this container. To remove them from the container, we can open this container, mark all objects either with the Select All button or simply drag and drop it. If we then drive it up, we have sorted the objects individually and do not have it to ourselves. And in order to finally store them, that is, without being trapped in a box, we can simply activate the cargo elevator again, and now we have it in our inventory at the warehouse. This will ultimately transfer the objects to your cargo space. And at the latest at the cargo elevator, it would be desirable to be able to use a sorting function or the option to automatically unload objects. That means as soon as we have them in the warehouse, a drag and drop function to simply sort them in the warehouse. If you are traveling without a container and carry individual objects or opponents, you have several options again. Because for FPS objects, we can basically use every storage access directly, no matter which station or planet you are. But in order to load objects again, we also have to generate individual boxes again, that is, remove the armor completely, piece by piece. If we then have the boxes in front of us within the storage access area, we can simply transfer them back into our inventory at the station or planet via drag and drop. Option 2 again offers you the cargo elevator, because it would be too easy to just let the opponent drive down. Here we also have to do it ourselves again and remove every single piece of armor. But in order to recognize them in the cargo elevator, we also have to select each individual box again and anchor them in the cargo grid. And of course, we can't leave corpses here, they would also block the cargo elevator. So, again, a lot of work and small-scale clicking until we have sorted all objects so far and can then finally transfer them via the cargo elevator in our inventory. So detailed looting of opponents is no fun anymore. But of course, there is not only loot in legal missions. In particular, illegal missions can be worthwhile here, because the opponents either have special armor, such as in the Hurston area with the Hurston Dynamics Artimex armor, or some special weapons. But especially here again the note, use a mobile spawn option, either with the ship or the Ursa medevac, so that you don't have to restart the whole mission completely in the event of an immediate case or only come back to the mission area for a long time. It is also recommended to deactivate the Comsat stations for illegal missions with a pulse or another hoverbike in order not to catch a crime stat. The clue to the bikes: these are not tracked as spaceships by the defense systems and you can easily enter here without being shot. But in order to deactivate a Comsat, you need another hacking card. And you can acquire this completely legal in the Microtech area, for example, or with some missions. And as soon as you have entered the card, the hacking process starts, which you have to confirm again and again, otherwise it will break. But be careful, other players will receive a mission as soon as you start a process to kill you and to reactivate the Comsat station. So if you are in the area of Hurston, you can deactivate the surveillance here, which you can see by the fact that you can no longer see a green eye in the upper left corner of your screen. So you are free to go. So there is no surveillance anymore, and you can do whatever you want and don't get a crime stat for it. So if you, for example, kill some other players, you don't get a crime stat. So it means that any actions you take now are not rewarded with a crime stat. So you're absolutely bird-free, so to speak. Alternatively, you can of course also fly directly to one of the Comsat stations with a ship, but then you will be shot by the defense systems, so watch out. With a hoverbike, you not get being shot, but of course you also leave your ship behind for the time being. Advantages and disadvantages of both variants. With a switched off Comsat, we now have the option of carrying out illegal missions in this area without receiving a crime stat for it. And also, we did not go to Clasher in the event of a sudden death. But here, again an important note. At any time, any other player can activate the surveillance again. So it can start at any time during a mission and you can of course receive a crime stat again. So always keep an eye on the surveillance display in your hub. And until then, you are absolutely free from any responsibility, although it is still recommended not to be traveling alone. Especially in the new distribution centers, there are a variety of opponents who are partly well equipped. And in addition, you could be traveling here with ground vehicles. This means that you are traveling with an Ursa, you have the opportunity to take your respawn ability with you, and this also drives directly to the mission destination. And with that, your career as a ground fighter is no longer in question, whether it is legal or illegal. Of course, we have not forgotten the medical basic care. In any case, no matter what profession you are using in Star Citizen and what you're doing, you basically take a medical basic care in the form of a medigun with you. Because here you not only have the opportunity to heal yourself, revive others, but also to administer drugs accordingly, for example to suppress hit limbs for a period of time and still remain operational. And with that, we wish you a good hunt, see you soon and thanks for watching!